Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is April the 6th, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. I will say I'm a little sleepy. I didn't sleep the greatest, but that's pretty par of the course for your boy. Excuse me. Let's see, food corner last night though. I ate pretty good. It was pizza day. Hooray for pizza day! I went to Ye Old Domino's, which I failed to mention. Talking about the whole McDonald's boycott thing, I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't say, hey, I've taken to the pizza, which I think they were kind of implicated too in the boycott thing. But I've said my spiel on that. You can go back to last episode to hear it. But yeah, had my pizza. My two pizzas I got was were whatever proper grammar. I never do that. Chicken bacon ranch pizza with onions. Added those, and I gotta say, I know. Well, for myself, I was not a ranch on pizza, a ranch as a sauce guy. Personally, that was my pineapples don't go on pizza. I am a pineapple pizza guy, but I was like, oh, this isn't for me. I'm not into it. But I will say, I've had it before. Was my first time, but this one was really good. I enjoyed it. It was yummy. Let's see. The other pizza I had was a Hawaiian pizza, essentially a barbecue Hawaiian pizza with barbecue sauce, and then ham and what's it called? Pineapples. So yeah, it was a good little meal for your boy, and yeah, here we are now. Speaking of food, I probably should have eaten sooner. I tend to go on these like really bad stretches sometimes if I know I'm gonna potentially do something later in the day or something like that. And I go, oh, I don't want to be full of food and like have to like, shit at a public place or whatever or at a person's house. So I'm always like, okay, I'll starve myself, which is terrible. I know it's not healthy, but I live a very edgy rock star lifestyle. No, I don't. I'm weird and have bad eating habits. Don't be like me. Anyway, enough rambling, enough yapping about nothing. Let me go ahead and do my startup, and we can talk about something. I will say I was actually low key thinking about not doing an episode today, just kind of taking a day, personal day. But the news called, it kept calling, so I finally picked up the phone. All right. First story comes from Reuters. Emergency declared in Russia's Yavoborsk. I know I got that wrong. Fuck, I literally looked that one up. After radiation detected, TASS says. Authorities in Russia's far east city of Yavovorsk have declared a state of emergency in an area where the radiation source was found. TASS news agency reported on Friday. It said elevated radiation levels were detected near a power pylon about 2.5 kilometers or 1.5 miles from residential buildings. No one has been injured or exposed to radiation, and there is no threat to the health of citizens. TASS quoted the local branch of Russia's consumer safety watchdog as saying. So, excuse me. So that's hopefully, good news, but you never know. Whenever I kind of hear the word radiation, oh, that's a spike thing. I'm like, oh, it's fucked for that whole area. It's hills have eyes for them. It's too late. But hopefully things are good. Hopefully everyone's okay there. Let's see. What else do I want to? I think that might be the end of the article, really. Yeah, it said the radiation levels would be monitored for the next 2 days, and the source of the radiation would be investigated. This wasn't like, at least to my knowledge, it wasn't related to anything like between the Ukraine and Russia conflict. This was like a whole other thing. But speaking of that, I'm going to force a segue. From CBS News, Russian missile strikes on Ukrainian city of Kharkiv leaves at least 6 dead. Russian forces overnight attacked Ukraine with drones and missiles killing at least 6 people and wounding 11 more in Kharkiv, Ukraine's second largest city, local officials reported. Governor of Kharkiv region Ole Sinahubov said missile strikes on the city damaged residential buildings, a gas station, a kindergarten, a coffee shop, and cars. Kharkiv is only about 18 miles from the eastern border with Russia. Oh, excuse me. Overall, Russia fired 32 Iranian-made Shahed drones and 6 missiles at Ukraine overnight, according to the air commander. Ukrainian Air Defense Forces shot down 3 cruise missiles and 28 drones. Lieutenant General Mykola Oleshchuk said in a statement, Russian killers continue to terrorize Ukrainians and attack Kharkiv and other peaceful cities. The Russian military has not commented on the strikes, but said that Ukraine on Saturday morning fired Vampire rockets at Russia. All 10 of them were shot down over Russia's border region of Belgorod by air defense systems, the Russian Defense Ministry said. They do go into a little bit more backgrounds and updates, about like kind of what's going on the Ukrainian front. I really don't want to dwell too long on that, so we're going to kind of just skip it. By all means, if you'd like to, look at it, that's why I kind of at least reference, where I got the article from, so you can do some personal reading, and I would love to, have a discourse about any of this shit. Please, hit me up, hit my line. Let's see. But from the Financial Times, Ecuador sparks diplomatic crisis after police storm Mexican embassy. So I got to click off of an ad here. I'm not going to give you any money. No, they're not going to let me go. Okay, there you go. Mexico has broken off diplomatic relations with Ecuador and vowed to bring the Andean nation before an international court after police broke into its embassy in Quito and captured Ecuador's former vice president, who was sheltering there after being convicted of corruption. President Daniel Noboa, his hardline conservative government ordered officers into the embassy after Mexico's left-wing administration granted asylum to Jorge Glas, who served as Ecuador's vice president from 2013 to 2018 and was later sentenced to 14 years in jail. So what I gathered from this article was, I guess, a drug lord or some, a criminal had bribed officials to get Glass out of jail early. There were text messages that linked to this, and essentially Noboa's administration was kind of out for blood here, and they're like, we want him. He's our guy. He's our man. Give him to us. And they're like, we're not extraditing him here. He's in the embassy. We're not doing that. We're not fucking working with you on that shit. So essentially Noboa, who's, been fighting, gangs and doing all this fucking shit, he's got his own state of emergency shit going on. He was like, fuck it. We'll just go in. We'll just fucking take him. And that's pretty fucking wild to do. I get it. This is a corruption thing. This guy, technically, you go through the history, this is like a political rivalry kind of thing, between the left and the right, and you're kind of settling scores in some ways. But what the fuck, man? To do this kind of to stir up this kind of political row is just so bad, because it's gonna make all kinds of Latin American countries just up in arms with you. Essentially, Cuba, Venezuela, you go down the fucking line, people are mad. They're piping up. Mexico especially, because you came into their fucking house and said, "Oh, we're taking our guy. We're getting our man." It's like, no, dude, you're not Walker, Texas Ranger. You can't do this shit. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this shit works. So yeah, I think this is pretty fucked up. I think it's pretty dumb of Noboa to do. Like I said earlier, he has other fucking fish on the fryer he needs to fucking handle in Ecuador. He does not need to be doing this shit. But hey, here he is, fucking, busting heads. There you go. I kind of just went into riff mode there, but I feel like that's good enough to call it covered. Hopefully you don't have to purchase this. I feel like you're good. I don't think you have to subscribe. I was able to read this a few times actually, and not have to pay. So hopefully that stays the same. Okay, we have one more thing to cover, and then I'll let you go. kind of trying just to zoom through this today. I might have a nap in my future. We'll see if I play my cards right. But let me go ahead and do my last break, and then we'll go ahead and get into it. Ooh. From the Miami Herald, gunfire at Miami area bar kills security guard, injures officer and six others, police say. A gunman and a security guard were shot dead, and seven others were injured, including an Army trained Doral police officer who wrapped a tourniquet around his injured upper thigh. In excuse me, and a shootout involving police at a Doral nightclub early Saturday. According to Miami-Dade police, a dispute broke out at a martini bar at City Place Doral around 3:30 a.m. Saturday. A security guard intervened and was shot and killed by the gunman. Two Doral police officers who were at the martini bar on security detail exchanged gunfire with the shooter. 9 people in total were shot. In addition to the security guard, the gunman was killed in the exchange, and 6 people at the bar were injured during the shootout, along with a Doral police officer. I mean, it's crazy out here, y'all. I mean, America is pretty much just a PvP zone. You kind of just got to get it how you live. It doesn't matter, if you're in the gully. I mean, shit, I don't really, I feel like we haven't covered too many rural shootings unless we're talking about maybe like, oh, we turned into the wrong place and like maybe, this guy is like sitting on his porch and he's got a gun or something, that kind of style of thing. But I don't know. It's crazy that this is a very common thing to see, to hear, to potentially have to survive in America. But I mean, there were some other shootings I didn't cover. I think there was actually, now that I think about it, kind of going a bit of an aside, there was a shooting in Finland. I think there was at a school of some sort. I know I'm just kind of grasping at straws here. So, don't quote me, but, very unfortunate in that situation, but it does happen. But in America, it's very prolific. I know I always like using that fucking word. I don't care. I'm not going to stop. But, sadly, that's also something that's not going to stop. In the article, they focus on, like, the cop, like, oh, he did a tourniquet and he saved himself. It was a very heroic thing. And, he was very calm in the light of duty and he had military training. I mean, cool. That's awesome. People still died, though. It's, sad and unfortunate. I'm glad the number wasn't bigger. But, once again, we've talked about how injuries are still very traumatic, very devastating to have to go through. So, yeah, I mean, it's a shame, we're kind of ending on this note. Kind of sour, kind of sad. But, that's life, sadly, especially, living in America. But hopefully, I don't want to get to. Well, I'll end it better. Let me do my my shill mode. Sorry. Patreon.com/Isaiah News if you'd like to support the effort. Let's see here. Isaiah News 1 Isaiah News 1 at gmail.com if you'd like to send any feedback, hit me up that way. Then I'm on all the socials you're probably on. Hopefully you can subscribe to the YouTube. Really helps out a lot. Do all the things there. Hit the like button. Leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. Reviews are always nice. All the stars. But yeah, as I was saying, hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.